Hello and welcome to our tutorial on our Yamaha 01V96. This is a new console for Eagle Creek Church. This is what we are learning, what we are using in the sanctuary, and we are very excited about this board. It is pretty awesome. For those of you that are in kids running sound, this is a little bit different. Some of the same concepts are going to apply, but still very bit different. Now, this board is considered a digital board. The one we use in kids is an analog board. What is the difference, you might ask? Well, it has to simply do with the fact that sound comes in here. I don't know if you see my finger. Sound comes in here, and then it goes straight to computer processing inside of this, which it's called an A to D converter, which is an analog to digital converter. Then it goes into the computer brain, blah, 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 comes back out. Now, with an analog board, it's actually analog components all the way through. What is the difference as far as what is good for us? Well, digital board has so many more functions. It has so many more effects and all sorts of fun stuff like that. So we have moved to a digital board in our main service. So this is the board. Okay, so we're just going to jump right in real quick. I'm going to zoom in here as best I can, so you'll have to bear with me trying to run a camera and work at the same time. Now up here are our inputs. This is where sound comes in. And you'll see right here I have a XLR connector. It's actually a microphone. And what we would do is we would plug it into here. Now when you're running sound on Sunday morning, there's actually a big snake that plugs into all of these. These numbers have to go along with the numbers on the snake. So you'd plug in all of those. Sound comes in here, and then it goes into our brain here, and then we can control it down on our faders all the way down here. So now I am going to show you a little bit when we talk. This might be a little hard to see. We'll try our best to make sure you can see it. There, that should be a little better. And you'll notice the knob I am adjusting right there. That's going to adjust how well you can see it. You're not going to mess up anything. You can turn that knob all day and night till you want to, but that'll help you to see when you're using it. So let me try to zoom in here. Okay, now you'll notice there on number 2, we got sound coming in. That's where our microphone. Hello, hello. So that actually shows us what's coming in. Plug it in, get sound here, and then we would actually adjust it down a little further on our faders. Pretty simple. Now let me tell you a little bit more about this board and how it works. This board here actually is a 32 channel board, but the first thing you're going to notice is there's only 17 faders. There's 16 right here, and then there's one there that gives you 17. And then you'll notice the inputs, there's actually only 16 inputs. It goes from XLR inputs that are 12, 13, 14 is quarter inch, 15, 16 are also quarter inch, and those are actually left and right. And when you plug in a CD player, computer, whatever it may be, you would get left and right on there. So immediately we're going to notice a problem. We got 32 inputs, we got a 16 channel of faders, and then also inputs. Well, I am going to show you what makes it a 32 channel board. Okay, so if you glance here in the back, there's this little connector called an ADAT connector, and it's right here. Now what that does is it expands out to give us more inputs. This little connector right here, and you might have seen this one before. This is what you might see on your stereo, although most of the stereo stuff's going to HDMI, so you won't see those as much. But it breaks out into this box on the back. So and immediately you'll notice there's numbers right here. There is 13, 14, 15, 16. And actually, if you're plugging in the snake, those corresponding numbers will plug in there. These little cables up here make us have more inputs. And actually, we could even have all the way up to 32. This actually just gives us 24 inputs. So if you're ever running the board and you're like, I'm running out of inputs, they're actually quite a bit more right here on the back of the mixer. Now we're back here on the front. Now, as you're going through this, at any point you can go to Yamaha's website and you can actually download the manual to get more in depth on how this board works, how does it function, because what I'm going to tell you today is actually a scratch on the surface. So what do we got here? One thing we didn't really address is we got 16 faders and still 32 inputs. And now that leads me to our next section. And you'll notice up here, see if I can show you. Sorry if it's hard to see. We're going to go over here. You'll notice it, and I'll try to zoom in as best I can. It says 1 through 16 right here. This button right here does. Now, there's a button right next to here that says 17 through 32. I'm going to press that. You can't see it because it's not in frame, but I'm going to press it so you can see it in frame. Back out here. Okay? 1 through 16. 1 through 17. You'll notice immediately all our faders just went crazy. Well, you can think of this board as being really long, and so instead of putting all the faders on there, they have said, well, you could just flip a button and that will actually flip to it. It's kind of fun to play with. I like to do this a lot, but don't do it too much because we'll mess it up. But anyway, that's what that does. 1 through 16, 17 through 32. Very cool. Now let's talk about a single channel. I'm actually going to plug my microphone back in, and I'm going to try to back out here. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to plug my microphone back into 2. Like I said, usually there's a snake plugged in there that would come from the sanctuary. All right, we're plugged it in. So I'm going to show you a little bit about adjusting this particular microphone. So we're going to zoom in to channel 2, and I'm going to show you this. Now you'll notice that channel 2 actually has a mute, or excuse me, it has an on and an off. And now this is a little bit different than if you've ever used other boards. Usually you press the button to mute it, and then you unpress it to unmute it. This one actually, you just simply click that. That light has to be on. I'm on 2, sorry. To be able to turn on number 2. So here at number 2, now it's on. Now we can actually get signal. If we turned that off, it would not be on anymore. Solo, if you have headphones, if you want to bring them, we do not supply them, but if you want to use them, you can use the solo button to actually use up in your headphone section, and that will give you the ability to hear that particular channel if you're in the middle of a performance on Sunday morning and you need to hear what's going on in a channel, maybe a crackle, maybe something's going on, you can use that solo button. But here's what I want to get to is this button right here, the select button. Now, what I've done is I've told the computer I want to select this particular channel. If I come over here to 1, you'll notice immediately that it actually has selected 1, and I'm no longer selecting 2 anymore. But we're going to go to 2 because that's what we're working on. And then we move up to our beautiful screen up here. And everything we're going to adjust is going to happen on this screen. So we're selecting number 2. Once again, you can see it. Hello! Hello! All right, before I move on to that, I do want to show you one other thing before we get to the screen, because I did forget. So if you're going, this is a little chaotic, well, get over it. Here we go, up here to where I'm plugged into. This is actually what I should have showed you first. I forgot about it, but no biggie. You'll notice this little thing right here. This is actually the gain. There is nothing digital about this gain. This gain is not controlled anywhere on this. So you can select stuff, move stuff. It doesn't matter if you go to any of the buttons or whatever. This only can be adjusted by you, and it is fixed because it is analog. So basically there's signal that comes in through here and then moves into the digital section. So this has to be adjusted by us. So what do we use it for? Well, this gain is very important. We want to watch. Now I'm going to move you back here to the screen so you can see what's going on. Okay. See, we can see, hello, hello. And I don't have a ton of signal going on, but if I turn up that gain, check, 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 oh, you see immediately I have peaked out. Now when we get to that level right there, all the way at the top, I'm going to zoom you in even a little bit further. When we get all the way to the top like that, it sounds distorted and horrible. And you'll even notice, I'll show you here in a second. Here, let me see if I can move you back over to it. Check, check, check. You'll notice that red light has come up right below the gain, and it is turning on